3 years. That's how long Park Ji-won had been numb from the waist down. Seoul's most ruthless crime lord, reduced to an empty shell by poison that stole everything that made him a man. Until she walked through his door, his new assistant, curves that defied gravity, skin like polished mahogany, and something impossible happened. A pulse, a stirring, a resurrection. She doesn't know it yet, but Naomi Chen just rewrote his entire existence. Welcome back, fam. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because this story is going to have you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from, and let's dive into this emotional roller coaster. Naomi Chen stood outside the silver skyscraper, tugging at her blazer for what felt like the 100th time. Her curves refused to cooperate with the professional look she was going for. No, no matter how she adjusted the fabric, her hips and chest demanded attention. First day as executive assistant to Park Ji-won, CEO of Phoenix Enterprises. She'd heard the rumors at the staffing agency. Cold as winter, impossible to please. Women threw themselves at him regularly. He never even blinked. Some whispered he preferred men. Others said tragedy had broken something inside him. The lobby gleamed with marble and chrome. Her heels echoed as she crossed the executive elevator. The receptionist barely acknowledged her, just pointed toward the private lift with a manicured finger. Naomi's pulse hammered as the elevator climbed to the 40th floor. The doors opened onto a corridor of glass and steel, souls spreading beneath like a conquered kingdom. A woman with silver streaks in her hair appeared. "You must be Miss Chen. I'm Director Han. Mr. Park is waiting. Don't keep him." The warning was clear as crystal. Naomi clutched her portfolio against her chest and walked toward the plast, imposing doors at the corridor's end. She knocked twice, firm but respectful. "Come in." That voice, deep as ocean trenches, it sent electricity down her spine before she even saw him. Naomi pushed through the doors into an office that screamed power, floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. And behind a desk that could double as a landing strip sat Park Ji-won. Her breath died in her throat. Nobody mentioned he was absolutely gorgeous. Sharp features that could cut diamond, eyes so dark they seemed bottomless, hair swept back with casual perfection, a suit that whispered wealth in every stitch. He was reviewing documents, hadn't glanced up yet. "Mr. Park, I'm Naomi Chen, your new assistant." Her voice came out steadier than she felt. That's when he looked up, and Ji-won's entire world stopped spinning. He'd been reviewing territory reports from Incheon, barely paying attention to whoever Director Han had hired. He'd burned through 9 assistants in 4 months. They either crumbled under pressure or made inappropriate advances. Not understanding, he literally couldn't respond to desire anymore, couldn't feel anything below his belt. But when he raised his eyes and saw her standing there, curvy and nervous and radiating an energy he couldn't name, everything changed. His chest tightened. Heat flooded through him like wildfire, concentrated and intense and medically impossible. His body was waking up. After 3 years of absolute nothing, this woman walked into his office, and he felt everything simultaneously. His hands gripped the desk edge so hard his knuckles bleached white. What was happening? Blood rushed places it hadn't visited in years, bringing sensation he'd mourned as permanently dead. His heart rate spiked. He could feel his pulse in regions that had been numb since the poisoning. "Sir, are you okay?" Her voice yanked him back to reality. He realized he'd been staring at her for a solid minute without speaking. "You're tardy," he lied. She was exactly on time. He just needed words, any words, to anchor himself. "I apologize, Mr. Park. The subway was packed this morning and I sit down." He needed her seated, needed a moment to process what his body was screaming at him. Naomi settled into the chair across from his desk, crossing her legs. The movement drew his eyes to her thighs. Another surge of heat crashed through him. This was insane. medically impossible. 3 years ago, Kwon Hyun-suk's men had poisoned him with a rare compound that destroyed his nervous system below the waist. Doctors said the damage was irreversible. No desire, no physical response, no hope of intimacy ever again. He'd accepted it, buried himself in expanding his empire. And now this woman sat in his office and his body was screaming like it had been waiting for her specifically. Tell me about yourself. He needed to understand what made her different from every other woman who'd walked through that door. Naomi launched into her background. MBA from Yale, 6 years in executive management, fluent in Mandarin, English, and Korean. He absorbed maybe half the words. He was studying her face, the way her full lips moved when she spoke, how her eyes sparkled when she discussed her work. She was passionate, intelligent, completely unaware she was performing miracles just by existing. When she finished, she looked at him expectantly. Your credentials are impressive. Thank you, sir. The position demands long hours. I often work past midnight. I understand. You'll accompany me to business functions, international meetings, occasional overseas trips. That's outlined in the contract. He nodded. Start by organizing my calendar for the next 3 weeks. Director Han will show you your workstation. Naomi stood, relief washing over her. His intensity had been overwhelming. Those eyes felt like they were reading her soul's deepest secrets. But she desperately needed this position. The salary was 4 times her previous job. Enough to send money home to her grandmother in Taiwan and finally clear her student debt. She turned toward the door. Miss Chen. His voice froze her mid-step. She looked back. Yes, sir. Ji-won rose from his desk, buttoning his jacket. Even across the room, his presence filled the space like electricity. Welcome to Phoenix Enterprises. The way he said it felt like something more, like he was welcoming her into his life, not just his company. Thank you, Mr. Park. She escaped before her knees gave out entirely. At her new desk outside his office, Naomi tried focusing on the mountain of work Director Han had left. Schedule conflicts, international calls to coordinate, reports to compile. But her mind kept circling back to those intense eyes. The way he'd looked at her like he was memorizing every detail. She'd never experienced a man looking at her that way. Men usually preferred slimmer women. The delicate ones Korean beauty standards celebrated. She'd always been curvy, thick, what her grandmother called abundant. But the way Park Ji-won had stared at her made her feel like she was exactly right, more than right, perfect. Inside his office, Ji-won paced like a caged predator. He needed to call his doctor. Immediately, he pulled out his phone, dialing the private number for Dr. Yoon, the neurologist who'd treated him for 3 years. Mr. Park, this is unexpected. I experienced something. Silence. What do you mean? Today. Just now. I felt desire. Physical response. Everything you said was impossible. That is impossible. The nerve damage was extensive. There's no medical explanation for spontaneous recovery. I'm describing what happened. Then it's psychological. Perhaps some stimulus triggered your mind to override the physical limitations. A woman. Pardon? A woman entered my office and everything returned. What does that mean? Dr. Yoon was quiet for a long moment. I've documented cases where extreme psychological triggers can temporarily override physical damage. But Mr. Park, don't build hopes on this. It could be a singular anomaly that never repeats. But it wasn't singular. The rest of that day, every time Naomi entered his office to confirm an appointment or ask a question, Ji-won's body responded. Like his nervous system had been hibernating for 3 years, and she was the alarm clock jolting him awake. By 5 o'clock, he was exhausted from fighting his physical reactions. He watched through his glass office walls as she gathered her belongings. Other employees were leaving, the office emptying. She stood, stretching. Her body moved in ways that made his mouth go dry. He made a decision, pressed his intercom. Miss Chen, my office, please. Naomi grabbed her notepad, assuming he needed something before she left for the day. She entered his office. He stood by the windows, looking out at Seoul's skyline. The setting sun painted him in gold, making him look almost mythical. "You wanted to see me, sir? How was your first day?" The question surprised her. He didn't seem like someone who cared about employee satisfaction. It was productive, busy. "I prefer staying busy. You managed the workload well. Thank you. Tomorrow will be more demanding. I have consecutive meetings and dinner with Chinese investors. I'll be prepared." He turned to face her fully. The intensity in his eyes made her step back instinctively. "I'll collect you tomorrow morning, 7 sharp. What's your address?" "That's not necessary, Mr. Park. I can take the subway." It wasn't a question. His tone left zero room for negotiation. She rattled off her address, confused. Since when did CEOs personally collect their assistants? Anything else? No. Get rest. Tomorrow will be exhausting. She nodded and left, feeling his gaze on her back the entire walk to the elevator. What was happening? Why was Korea's most powerful and terrifying CEO offering personal rides to work? Maybe this was standard for him. Maybe he did this for all his assistants. That thought should have comforted her. Instead, it twisted her stomach with unexpected jealousy. That night, Ji-won couldn't sleep. He lay in his massive bed, staring at the ceiling, his body still humming with unfamiliar energy. For 3 years, he'd been hollow, going through life's motions without actually living. He'd thrown himself into expanding his territory, making money, consolidating power. It was all he had remaining. His family had accepted he'd never settle down, never produce an heir, never continue the Park bloodline. His mother had wept when doctors delivered their final diagnosis. He'd accepted it with cold resignation. This was his fate. But now everything had shifted in one day. One woman. Naomi Chen had walked into his office and flipped a switch inside him he'd thought was permanently destroyed. He wanted to know everything about her, where she came from, what made her laugh, what she looked like first thing in the morning. The intensity of his feelings should have terrified him. Instead, it felt like coming home after years lost in the wilderness. She was his miracle, his salvation, and he was going to make her his, regardless of what it required. The next morning, Naomi waited outside her apartment building at 6:55, unwilling to keep him waiting. Exactly at 7, a black Range Rover appeared. Ji-won stepped out, opening the passenger door himself. He wore another impeccable suit, this one charcoal with a burgundy tie. He looked like he'd stepped off a magazine cover. "Good morning." His voice was still rough from sleep. "Good morning, Mr. Park." She slid into the passenger seat, immediately surrounded by expensive leather and his masculine scent. He entered the driver's side, and suddenly the vehicle felt intimate, small. She was hyper-aware of his large hands on the steering wheel, the way his thigh muscles flexed working the pedals, how his jaw tightened when he concentrated on traffic. "Did you sleep well?" he asked, navigating Seoul's morning chaos. "Yes, thank you. I didn't." He glanced at her. "Work stress? Something like that." They fell into silence. Naomi watched the city wake up. Street vendors setting up, students rushing to school, the organized chaos of Seoul mornings. Why relocate to Korea? His question pulled her attention back. I needed change. Taiwan felt suffocating. I wanted adventure. And Seoul seemed adventurous. Very different culture, different language, different everything. It's been challenging but rewarding. "Do you have family here?" "No, just me. My grandmother's still in Taiwan. She wasn't thrilled about me moving so far. She must miss you. We video call weekly." She smiled, thinking of her grandmother's constant worry. "What about you? Is your family in Seoul?" Ji-won's jaw tightened. "My parents live in Gangnam. I have a younger brother studying in England. Do you see them regularly?" "Not as regularly as I should." The conversation died. Naomi sensed she'd touched a nerve. They arrived at Phoenix Enterprises. Once again, employees stared as their CEO personally escorted his assistant inside. Whispers started immediately. Naomi felt dozens of eyes tracking them as they rode the elevator up. In his office, the day was chaos. Ji-won had been accurate. Consecutive meetings, calls with international partners, contract negotiations. Naomi took notes, managed his schedule, brought him lunch he barely touched, coordinated with department heads. She ran on pure adrenaline. At 6 o'clock, Director Han appeared. "Mr. Park, your dinner reservation is at 8. The car is ready. Change of plans. Miss Chen will accompany me." Director Han's eyebrows shot up. "But sir, you typically attend these alone." "I said Miss Chen will accompany me." His tone was final. Director Han disappeared quickly. Naomi looked up from her laptop, confused. "Sir, I don't believe it's appropriate for me to. You're my assistant. You need to be present for all business dealings. Go home, change into something suitable for dinner. I'll collect you at 7:30. But I don't own anything. Buy something. Use the company card." He slid a black card across his desk. "Mr. Park, I can't." "You can and you will. That's an order, Miss Chen." Naomi stood outside the restaurant at 7:30, feeling completely exposed in the designer dress she'd panic purchased an hour earlier. Navy blue, form-fitting, hitting just above her knees. It hugged every curve. The saleswoman had insisted it was perfect. Now she felt naked. Ji-won's Range Rover appeared and he stepped out. He froze when he saw her. His eyes traveled slowly from her heels, up her legs, over her curves to her face. The heat in his gaze made her skin flush. "You look stunning." His voice was rough. "Thank you. Is it appropriate? It's perfection." He offered his arm. She took it, feeling the solid muscle beneath his jacket. Inside the restaurant, they were led to a private room where 4 Chinese businessmen waited. The dinner was intense. Negotiations for shipping routes, territory agreements, profit shares. Naomi took notes discreetly, impressed by how Ji-won commanded the room. He was brilliant, ruthless when necessary, but charming enough to keep everyone comfortable. The Chinese executives clearly respected him. When one of them, Mr. Wang, made a joke in Mandarin, Naomi laughed before catching herself. "You speak Mandarin, Miss Chen?" Wang asked in accented English. "A little. I studied it growing up." "She's being modest," Ji-won said. "She speaks multiple languages fluently." That wasn't entirely accurate, but the way he said it with such pride made her heart flutter. After dinner, Ji-won drove her home again. They sat in his vehicle outside her building, neither moving to leave. "Thank you for tonight," she said. "You were invaluable. The Wang deal is important. Happy to help." She reached for the door handle. His hand shot out, gently catching her wrist. The touch sent electricity through her. "Naomi." It was the first time he'd used her first name. His voice wrapped around it like silk. "Yes. Can I be honest with you?" Her heart pounded. "Of course. I haven't felt this alive in 3 years. Since the moment you entered my office yesterday, everything's been different. You're different." His dark eyes searched hers. "I don't know what you did to me, but I can't stop thinking about you." The confession hung between them like live wire. Naomi's breath caught. This was her boss. This was inappropriate. This was insane. "Mr. Park, Ji-won. Call me Ji-won. We can't. I work for you. I know. But I had to tell you. I had to be honest about what you're doing to me." He released her wrist, running his hand through his hair in frustration. "Go inside before I do something I can't take back." Naomi fled to her apartment, her mind reeling. In his vehicle, Ji-won sat for a long time staring at the building. He was in dangerous territory. Falling for his assistant was catastrophic judgment, but his heart didn't care. About logic. It had found what it wanted, and Park Ji-won always got what he wanted. The next few days were torture for both of them. The tension in the office was thick enough to swim through. Every time their hands brushed passing documents, electricity sparked. Every time their eyes met, heat flared. Naomi tried maintaining professionalism, but it was impossible when Ji-won watched her constantly with that hungry look. On Friday, a massive delivery arrived. 3 large boxes addressed to Naomi. Confused, she opened them at her desk. Inside were designer dresses, each one clearly tailored to her exact measurements. Beautiful, expensive, perfect for her curves. A note in bold handwriting, "Wear them. You're too beautiful to hide in office clothes." Naomi's hands shook reading it. This was excessive, too expensive, too intimate. She marched into his office without knocking. Ji-won looked up from his computer, surprised. "Miss Chen, I can't accept these." She held up the note. "They're inappropriate. They're gifts. From my boss, which makes them inappropriate. What if I wasn't your boss?" He stood, coming around his desk. "What if I was just a man who wanted to give beautiful things to a beautiful woman? But you are my boss. That's reality. Then resign." Her eyes widened. "What? Resign from working for me? Then there's nothing inappropriate about me pursuing you. You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious." He moved closer, each step deliberate. "I can't focus with you here. I can't think about anything except you. Your laugh, your smile, how you bite your lip when you're concentrating, how your body moves. I'm going insane, Naomi." She backed up until she hit the wall. He planted his hands on either side of her head, caging her in. His body was inches from hers, heat radiating off him. "I can give you the world, anything you want, everything you need. Just say yes." "Yes to what?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "To letting me court you properly, to dinner, to seeing where this goes between us." His eyes dropped to her lips. "Say yes." Her mind screamed at her to refuse, to maintain professional boundaries, to protect herself from inevitable heartbreak. "No," she whispered. "I can't." His jaw tightened, but he stepped back, giving her space. "I respect your decision, but I'm not surrendering, Naomi. I'll wear you down eventually." The promise sent shivers down her spine. She left his office on shaky legs, wondering what she'd just refused. But Ji-won meant every word. The next week, he appeared outside her apartment every single morning, leaning against his Range Rover, impossibly handsome in tailored suits, holding coffee made exactly how she liked it. 2 creams, 1 sugar, cinnamon on top. "This is borderline stalking," Naomi said on Monday, trying to ignore how her heart leapt seeing him. "This is courtship," he corrected, opening her door. "Korean men pursue what they want, by ambushing women at their homes, by demonstrating dedication." On Tuesday, he brought coffee and a breakfast sandwich from her favorite bakery. "How did you know I like this place? I pay attention to everything about you." On Wednesday, there were flowers on her desk when she arrived. On Thursday, he sent lunch, bibimbap, kimchi, and her favorite plum juice. "You're making my coworkers jealous," she told him. "Let them be jealous. You deserve to be spoiled." By Friday, Naomi was starting to crack. It was difficult to resist someone who put this much effort in, who looked at her like she was the only woman in the world, who learned her favorite foods and brought them without being asked. But she was also terrified. Men like Park Ji-won didn't fall for girls like her. Curvy, normal, nothing special. This had to be temporary infatuation. He'd get bored eventually. Better to protect her heart now. "Mr. Park, can we talk?" She entered his office at lunch, closing the door behind her. He looked up from his laptop immediately, giving her his full attention. "Of course. You need to." "Stop! Stop what? All of this. The gifts. The attention. It's making work uncomfortable. Then don't work here. I need this position. You need a position. Not this specific position. I'll help you find something else. Better salary, better hours. Why? because I can't be your boss and pursue you. So I'm choosing to pursue you." She stared at him, shocked. "You're terminating me? I'm setting you free to make a choice without professional pressure. I'll give you 3 months severance, salary, excellent references, and recommendations at any company in Seoul." He stood, moving around his desk. "And then when you're no longer my employee, I'm going to court you properly, take you to dinner, show you I'm serious about this, about you." Naomi's mind reeled. "This is insane. Maybe, but you make me insane." He cupped her face gently. "I haven't felt anything in 3 years, Naomi. 3 years of numbness, of going through life like a ghost. Then you appeared and everything returned. Color, sensation, hope. You gave me back my humanity. Let me show you what that means to me." His thumb stroked her cheek, and she couldn't help leaning into the touch. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Of me. Of this. Of wanting you too much. Want me. I promise I'll catch you when you fall." His forehead touched hers, the gesture intimate, tender. "Give me a chance, please." Before she could answer, the office door burst open. Yang Minho, the operations director, rushed in with documents. He stopped short, seeing them standing so close. "Oh, I apologize. I didn't realize." Jiwon straightened, his entire demeanor shifting to ice-cold boss. "What is it, Yang? The acquisition contracts need your signature." Minho handed them over, his eyes flicking to Naomi curiously. "Is everything okay, Miss Chen?" "Fine," she managed. "Perfect." Minho smiled at her, friendly, innocent. Jiwon's hand shot out, gripping Naomi's wrist possessively. "Yang, in the future, knock before entering my office." "Yes, sir. I apologize." Minho left, quickly, sensing the tension. The moment the door closed, Jiwon turned to Naomi, his eyes dark with something primal. "He smiled at you." "So?" Her confusion was genuine. He was being polite. "Did you smile back? We're colleagues." "I was being professional." His grip on her wrist tightened slightly, not painfully, but possessively. "Don't be polite to other men. Are you serious right now?" She tried to pull her wrist free. He held firm, deadly serious. "I don't share, Naomi. Not even smiles. Not even professional courtesy. Nothing. You don't own me. Not yet." The promise in those 2 words made heat pool in her stomach. "But I will soon. And when I do, every other man in this building will know you're mine." The caveman possessiveness should have turned her off. Instead, it sent liquid fire through her veins. "Let me go," she whispered, not meaning it at all. Never. He pulled her closer, his other hand spanning her waist. "I'll let you leave this room. I'll let you go home tonight. But let you go. Completely? Never. You're mine, Naomi. You just don't know it yet." He released her suddenly, stepping back, giving her space. She stumbled slightly, off balance in every sense. "Go home. Think about what I said. I'll see you Monday morning. What if I find another position over the weekend? Then I'll follow you there. That's insane. Love makes men insane." The word love hung between them like a bomb. He'd said it so casually, but the weight of it crashed over her. "You don't love me. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're brilliant and beautiful and brave. I know you moved halfway across the world to chase your dreams. I know you send money to your grandmother every month, even though it leaves you barely surviving. I know you organize your files alphabetically, but your desk is controlled chaos. I know you hum when you're concentrating. I know you tap your pen twice before answering the phone. I know your smile lights up every dark corner inside me. What else do I need to know?" Naomi couldn't breathe. He'd noticed all of that, paid attention to those tiny details. "I'm leaving," she managed, grabbing her purse. "Naomi." His voice stopped her at the door. "You can run as far as you want, but you feel this too. This pull between us, this connection, and sooner or later, you're going to stop running." She fled without answering because he was absolutely right. That weekend, Naomi tried to forget Park Ji-won. She deep-cleaned her apartment, called her grandmother, binge-watched dramas, applied to 3 other positions half-heartedly, but every night she lay in bed thinking about him, about his confession, about how he looked at her like she was the only woman in existence, about how safe she felt when he was near, even though he was technically a dangerous man. On Sunday evening, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Hello, it's me." Ji-won's deep voice sent shivers through her. "How did you get my number? I'm a resourceful man. Did you have a good weekend? I'm not doing this." "Doing what?" "Having personal calls with my boss. Then resign. Make me not your boss anymore." She sighed, frustrated with his persistence and with herself for secretly loving it. "What do you want, Mr. Park? I want to hear your voice. I want to know if you thought about me even half as much as I thought about you. That's inappropriate." "Is it?" "Because I'm pretty sure inappropriate would be me telling you I couldn't sleep last night imagining what it would be like to kiss you." Heat flooded through her. "Don't say things like that." "Why not?" "It's the truth. I'm done pretending, Naomi. Life's too short. I wasted 3 years being numb. I'm not wasting another second hiding how I feel about you. You don't even really know me. Then let me know you. Have dinner with me tomorrow night. Not as my assistant, as a woman I'm pursuing. And if I say no, I'll ask again the next night. And the next, and the next. I'm nothing if not persistent." She could hear the smile in his voice. "What's your favorite color?" The random question threw her. "What? Your favorite color? You said I don't know you. I'm trying to learn." "Teal," she answered before she could stop herself. "Like ocean teal or deep teal?" "Deep, like midnight ocean." "Favorite food?" "My grandmother's beef noodle soup. I'll learn to make it." "You cook?" She couldn't hide her surprise. "I'm learning for you." "Favorite book?" "Pride and Prejudice. The romance where the proud man falls for the spirited woman." Fitting. She could definitely hear his smile now. "It's about more than that." "Is it?" "Because I'm living that story. Powerful man meets a woman who challenges him, falls completely, pursues her despite obstacles, gets his happy ending. Mr. Darcy was prideful and made mistakes. Are you hiding anything? Only how much I want you. But I'm done hiding that too." Her heart raced. "This is crazy. Crazy is the only sane response to you." He paused. "Dinner tomorrow, 8 o'clock, I'll collect you. Say yes." "If I say yes, this doesn't mean it means you're giving me a chance. That's all I'm asking for." She closed her eyes, knowing she was making a dangerous decision. "Fine. One dinner. One dinner. I'll take it." The triumph in his voice was clear. Monday morning, Naomi dressed carefully in one of the dresses he'd sent, deep teal, like her favorite color. She didn't analyze why. When Ji-won collected her, his eyes darkened seeing her. "You wore it. It fits well. It's perfect. You're perfect." At the office, people definitely noticed the shift between them. The way he touched her lower back, guiding her to the elevator. The way his eyes tracked her all morning. How he buzzed her into his office every 15 minutes with questions that weren't really questions, just excuses to see her. During lunch, young Minho stopped by her desk. "Miss Chen, some of us are going for Korean barbecue after work. Want to join?" It was friendly, innocent. Before Naomi could answer, Ji-won's office door opened. "Miss Chen, I need you." His voice was cold steel. "Oh, maybe next time, Minho." She grabbed her tablet and rushed into Ji-won's office. He closed the door behind her, his jaw tight. What did Yang want? To invite me to lunch with co-workers. Tell him no. I already did. Tell him you're unavailable for any social engagements outside work. That's controlling. That's me making sure every man here knows you're spoken for. He backed her against his desk, hands on either side of her, caging her in. "I don't like other men looking at you, talking to you, making you smile. I know it's irrational. I know it's possessive, but I can't help it. You've gotten under my skin, Naomi. You're all I think about. We haven't even been on one date. Doesn't matter. My soul recognized yours the second you walked in here. Everything else is just formality." He leaned closer, his lips inches from hers. "Tonight, dinner, then you'll understand." His breath ghosted across her lips. She wanted him to close the distance, wanted to know what he tasted like. But he pulled back, smirking slightly. Patience. Tonight, the man was going to kill her. The rest of the day dragged. At 6 o'clock, Ji-won appeared at her desk. "Ready? I need to go home and change. You're perfect as you are. Ji-won." She stopped, realizing she'd used his first name. A slow smile spread across his face. "Say it again." "What?" "My name. You've never said it before." Ji-won. His eyes closed briefly, like her saying his name brought him physical pleasure. "We're leaving before I do something wildly inappropriate in this office." He grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the elevator. Employees stared as their CEO left early, hand in hand with his assistant. The whispers would be nuclear by tomorrow. Naomi couldn't bring herself to care. He took her to a private restaurant overlooking the Han River, the kind of place that required reservations months in advance. They were seated on a private terrace, fairy lights strung overhead, the sunset painting the sky in teals and golds. "This is excessive," Naomi said, looking at the romantic setup. "This is the beginning," Ji-won corrected, pulling out her chair. Throughout dinner, he asked her questions, really listened to her answers, wanted to know everything. Her childhood in Taiwan, her dreams, her fears, why she chose business over the art she'd studied first. "I wanted to paint," she admitted, "but it wasn't practical. My grandmother struggled enough raising me alone. I needed to make real money. What would you paint if you could? People, emotions, the way light changes how we see things." Her eyes went distant. "Maybe someday. Paint for me." "What? After this, come to my place. Paint me. Paint what you see when you look at me." The request was intimate, vulnerable. "Ji-won, I haven't painted in years." "Then it's time to start again. I'm bringing parts of you back to life like you did for me." The truth of that statement hit her. She had been going through life on autopilot, working, surviving, not really living, until him. "Okay," she agreed softly. His smile was brilliant. After dinner, he drove her to his penthouse. Naomi's jaw dropped stepping inside. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing all of Seoul. Modern furniture, expensive art, a space that screamed wealth and power. "Would you like something to drink?" he asked, shrugging off his jacket. "Wine? Just water, please." She walked to the windows, taking in the view. The city sparkled below like scattered diamonds. She felt his presence behind her before he touched her. His hands settled on her waist, gentle, reverent. "I haven't brought a woman here in 3 years," he murmured. "This is my sanctuary, but having you here feels right, like you belong." She leaned back against his chest. "Tell me about the 3 years. What happened to you?" His body tensed, but he didn't pull away. 3 years ago, a rival gang leader named Kwon Hyun-suk tried to eliminate me. He used a rare poison, something from North Korea's chemical weapons program. It was meant to be lethal, but my security got me to a hospital fast enough. I survived, but the poison damaged my nervous system, specifically the nerves that control arousal, desire, physical intimacy. His voice was clinical, detached. Doctors said it was permanent. I'd never feel that again, never have a normal relationship, never father children. Naomi turned in his arms, looking up at him. Tears pricked her eyes, seeing the pain in his face. "That's horrible. I accepted it. What choice did I have? I threw myself into work. Building my empire became my only focus. Until you, the morning you entered my office, Naomi, I felt everything return. Desire, need, want. After 3 years of nothing, my body recognized you and woke up." His hand cupped her face. The doctors can't explain it. They say it's medically impossible. But I don't care about their explanations. I know the truth. You're my miracle. She pressed her hand over his on her cheek. That's a lot of pressure. What if it was just a one-time thing? What if it's not? Every time I see you, touch you, hear your voice, my body responds. You healed something broken inside me, not just physically, emotionally. You made me want to live again, not just survive. A tear slipped down her cheek. He wiped it away with his thumb. Don't cry for me. I'm crying because that's the most beautiful thing anyone's ever said to me. He lowered his head slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. Their lips met softly at first, testing, learning. Then hunger took over. Jiwon's arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her flush against him. Naomi's hands slid into his hair, gripping tight. The kiss deepened, turned desperate. 3 years of longing for him, 3 weeks of tension for her, all pouring into this moment. He walked her backward until her back hit the windows, his body pressed against hers, and she felt his arousal, hard and insistent, proof that everything he'd said was true. Naomi, he groaned against her lips. We should stop. Why? She was breathless, needy, because if we don't stop now, I won't be able to. His forehead pressed to hers, both of them breathing hard. And I want to do this right. Court you properly, not rush. What if I don't want to wait? His eyes darkened dangerously. Don't say that unless you mean it. I mean it. She pulled him back down, kissing him with all the pent-up desire coursing through her. Jiwon lifted her easily, her thighs wrapping around his waist. He carried her to his bedroom, laying her on his bed like she was precious. Are you sure? He asked one more time. I'm sure. I need you to know something first. He knelt beside the bed, taking her hand. I'm in love with you. Completely. This isn't just physical for me. You own my heart, Naomi Chen. Her breath caught. I love you too, she whispered. I think I have since you showed up outside my apartment with coffee. His smile was beautiful. Then let me show you how much you mean to me. He undressed her slowly, worshipping every inch of exposed skin with kisses. Naomi had always been self-conscious of her curves, her thick thighs, her soft stomach. But the way Jiwon looked at her body made her feel like a goddess. You're so beautiful, he murmured, his hands mapping her curves. Every inch of you, perfect. He took his time learning what made her gasp, what made her arch into his touch. When she reached for his shirt, nervous but eager, he let her undress him. Her hands trembled, seeing his body, muscled, scarred in places, powerful, evidence of the dangerous life he led. Are you scared? He asked gently. A little, she admitted. I've never done this before. His eyes widened. You're a virgin. She nodded, vulnerable. Is that okay? Okay? Naomi, it's an honor. He kissed her deeply. We'll go slow. If anything hurts or you want to stop, tell me immediately. I trust you. And she did, completely. Jiwon made love to her with patience and care, guiding her through every sensation, making sure she felt pleasure even when there was initial discomfort. He whispered Korean endearments she didn't understand but felt in her soul. When he finally made her fully his, they both cried from the overwhelming intimacy. I love you, he repeated, moving with her, their bodies finding a rhythm together. I love you so much. Afterwards, wrapped in his arms, Naomi felt complete, safe, cherished, like she'd finally found home. But as he slept beside her, reality crashed down. What if this was all he wanted? What if now that he'd had her, he'd lose interest? The doubts crept in, poisonous and insistent. She'd given him everything, her virginity, her heart, her trust. What if she'd been naive? What if powerful men like Park Ji-won didn't actually fall for girls like her? Fear overwhelmed logic. Carefully, she slipped out of bed, dressed quietly, wrote a note, then crumpled it, because what could she say? By 4 a.m, she was back in her own apartment, crying into her pillow, convinced she'd made a terrible mistake trusting him. Jiwon woke at dawn, reaching for Naomi. His hand found empty sheets, cold sheets. Panic hit him like a physical blow. He sat up, looking around his bedroom. Her clothes were gone. She was gone. Naomi. He checked the bathroom, the living room, everywhere. She'd left. She'd given him everything and then ran away. Why? His mind raced. Had he hurt her, scared her, done something wrong? He grabbed his phone, calling her. No answer. Called again. Voicemail. Texted. Nothing. By 7 a.m, he was frantic. He called his head of security. Find Naomi Chen now. I need her address confirmed. Her location. Everything. Sir, we have her address from HR. Then meet me there in 15 minutes with a car. Jiwon threw on clothes and raced to her apartment. He pounded on her door, not caring if he woke the neighbors. Naomi, open the door. Silence. More pounding. Naomi, please. I know you're in there. Please open the door. Finally, after an eternity, the door cracked open. She stood there in pajamas, eyes red and swollen from crying. His heart shattered. Why did you leave? His voice broke. I thought after you got what you wanted. She couldn't meet his eyes. What I wanted? He pushed inside, closing the door behind him. What I wanted? Naomi. I've wanted you since the second you entered my office. I'll want you every day for the rest of my life. One night with you isn't enough. 1,000 nights won't be enough, but men like you don't. Men like me? What does that mean? Powerful, rich. You could have anyone. Why would you want me long term? Her voice was small, broken. It destroyed him. Look at me. He lifted her chin, forcing her to meet his eyes. You think last night was just sex? It was me claiming my woman. It was me showing you how much you mean to me. It was me falling even deeper in love with you. I don't want anyone else. I want you. Only you. Always you. Tears streamed down her face. I was scared. I've never felt like this before. It terrified me. I'm sorry I scared you. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. But never, ever run from me again. If you're scared, tell me. If you're worried, tell me. But don't leave. Don't take yourself away from me. I can't survive that. You really love me? Her voice was muffled against his chest. Desperately, completely, obsessively. I'm ruined for anyone else. It's you or no one, Naomi. I love you too. I was just terrified you'd break my heart. Never. You hold my heart now. It's yours to keep or break. I'm trusting you with it. He kissed her forehead. Come back to my place. Let me hold you. Let me prove this is real. She nodded against his chest. He lifted her, carrying her out of the apartment and down to his car. His driver wisely said nothing about the crying woman in pajamas his boss was carrying. Back at the penthouse, Jiwon put her in his bed and held her while she slept, exhausted from crying. He stayed awake watching her, terrified she'd vanish again. When she woke hours later, he was still there. Hi, she whispered. Hi. He smiled. Hungry? Starving. He made her breakfast. Well, he tried. The eggs were slightly burnt, the toast too dark, but she ate every bite because he'd made it for her. They spent the day tangled together, talking, laughing, making love again, this time with no fear, only joy. By evening, Naomi knew with certainty. This was real. He was real. They were real. The next Monday at the office was interesting. Jiwon announced in the morning meeting that Naomi was his girlfriend. Jaws literally dropped. Whispers exploded through the conference room. Naomi wanted to disappear into the floor. Was that necessary? She hissed when they returned to his office. Absolutely. Now everyone knows you're mine. No more young Minho smiling at you. No more anyone thinking they have a chance. You're impossible. You love it. He pulled her into his lap at his desk. She did love it, but dating the CEO made work complicated. People treated her differently, some with jealousy, muttering about her sleeping her way to the top, others with newfound respect or fear, knowing she had the boss's ear. Jiwon didn't care about office politics. He held her hand in meetings, kissed her in the hallway, made his claim obvious and undeniable. When a junior executive made a snide comment about Naomi within Jiwon's hearing, "Must be nice getting ahead on your back," Jiwon fired him on the spot. "Sir, you can't fire people for gossiping about us," Naomi protested when she heard. "I can do whatever I want. This is my company, and no one disrespects you. Ever." His arrogance should have annoyed her. Instead, it made her feel protected, cherished. Later that week, over dinner at Seoul's finest Italian restaurant, Jiwon slid a key across the table. "What's this?" "Key to my penthouse. Move in with me." Naomi nearly choked on her wine. "What? My place is bigger, safer. I want to wake up with you every morning, come home to you every night. Move in." "That's too fast. We've only been together 2 weeks." "Says who? I love you. You love me. Why waste time? I need my independence. You'll have it. I'm not trying to control you. I just want to share my life with you. All of it. Please." The pleading in his eyes undid her. "Let me think about it. Take all the time you need, but know that every night you're not in my bed is torture." He was relentless and persuasive. 3 days later, Naomi moved in. Jiwon gave her an entire floor of his penthouse to decorate however she wanted. "Make it yours. Make this place our home." He came home every evening with gifts, flowers, jewelry, books. She'd mentioned wanting art supplies so she could paint again. She tried to protest the extravagance. He silenced her with kisses every time. "Let me spoil you. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Let me spend it on the woman I love." How could she argue with that? Life fell into a beautiful rhythm, mornings tangled together in bed. Jiwon's hands learning every inch of her body, bringing her to heights she'd never imagined. Drives to work together, his hand possessive on her thigh. Stolen moments in his office. Kisses that left them both breathless and counting down hours until they could go home. Evenings cooking together. Well, she cooked, while he watched and occasionally stirred things under supervision. She taught him to make beef noodle soup like her grandmother's. He taught her Korean phrases, especially the romantic ones. They were building something real, something lasting. At night, wrapped around each other, they talked about everything. He told her about his childhood, the pressure of taking over his father's business, the violence he'd witnessed and committed. She told him about growing up with a single grandmother, the racism she'd faced, her dreams of painting that she'd given up. "Paint again," he urged. "I'll set up a studio for you. You can paint while I work." "Jiwon, that's not a request. You gave up your dream for practicality. I'm giving it back to you. Paint, baby. Let me see the world through your eyes." He commissioned a studio in the penthouse, floor-to-ceiling windows with perfect light, all the supplies she could need. Naomi cried when she saw it. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for everything. You gave me my life back. This is nothing." But it wasn't nothing. It was everything. 3 months into their relationship, Naomi's grandmother came to visit from Taiwan. She was nervous about introducing Jiwon. What if her grandmother didn't approve? What if she thought Naomi was moving too fast? But Jiwon charmed her grandmother completely. He'd learned to make Taiwanese tea properly, asked about her late husband, listened to stories about Naomi's childhood with genuine interest. "He's wonderful," her grandmother said privately. "Don't let this one go." "I won't, Grandma. He looks at you like you hung the moon. That's rare. That's special." Naomi knew. She treasured it. At work one day, about 4 months into their relationship, everything shattered. Naomi was working late, finishing quarterly reports. Most of the office had cleared out. She was walking to the parking garage when a hand clamped over her mouth. She tried to scream, but something sharp pricked her neck. A needle. Drugs flooding her system. The world tilted. Strong arms grabbed her, dragging her. A black van, being thrown inside. A bag over her head. Her last conscious thought was Jiwon. Then darkness. Jiwon was in a board meeting when his head of security burst in, face pale. "Sir, we have a situation. This better be important. Miss Naomi's been taken." The room tilted. Jiwon's vision tunneled. "What did you say?" 20 minutes ago. Parking garage. Security footage shows 4 men. They drugged her and took her in a van. Who? Jiwon's roar silenced the room. "We think Kwon Hyun-suk's organization. We're tracking the van now." Jiwon stood, deadly calm. The calmness was more terrifying than his rage. Mobilize everyone. Every soldier, every contact, every resource we have. Call in every favor I'm owed. Burn this city down if you have to. Find her now. He stormed out, his board members forgotten. His entire world had narrowed to one objective: get Naomi back. Seoul's underworld shook as Park Ji-won declared war. His men raided enemy territories, arrested informants, tortured anyone who might know anything. Ji-won personally led the charge. His reputation for ruthlessness was well earned. He moved through the city like an avenging angel, leaving destruction in his wake. Nothing mattered except getting her back, safe, alive, in his arms where she belonged. By midnight, they had a location, an abandoned warehouse in Incheon, one of Hyun-suk's old fronts. Ji-won assembled 50 of his best soldiers. No mercy. Anyone who stands between me and her dies. Understood? 50 heads nodded. They moved out. Naomi woke tied to a chair in a dark warehouse. Her head pounded from whatever they'd drugged her with. As her eyes adjusted, she saw a man step from the shadows. Middle-aged, scarred face, cold eyes. "You must be the woman who brought Park Ji-won back to life." His smile was cruel. "I'm Kwon Hyun-suk, his enemy, and you're my revenge." Terror flooded through her, but she forced herself to stay calm. "He'll kill you for this. He'll try." Hyun-suk circled her like a predator. 3 years ago, Ji-won poisoned me, left me impotent, broken, unable to feel pleasure, to father children, to be a real man, so I did the same to him. We've been equals in suffering, until you." He leaned close, his breath hot on her face. "Somehow you fixed him, made him whole again. My sources tell me he's obsessed with you, happy, planning a future. How's that fair? Let me go. This is between you two, but you're the cure, aren't you? You're what made him whole. So I'll take you away. Let him suffer again. Let him know the emptiness I live with every day. He'll burn this entire city to find me. Maybe, but will he find you in time?" Hyun-suk's smile was evil. Hours passed. Naomi stayed strong, refusing to cry, refusing to give him the satisfaction of seeing her fear. She kept her mind on Ji-won. He would come. She had to believe that. He'd promised to always protect her. He'd promised forever. He would come. At 2 a.m, the warehouse doors exploded inward. Gunfire erupted immediately. Naomi screamed as bullets flew. She heard Ji-won's voice shouting orders, heard the chaos of fighting, smelled gunpowder and blood. The zip ties on her wrists were suddenly cut. She looked up into Ji-won's face. He looked like death itself. Cold, furious, lethal. "Baby," he breathed, pulling her into his arms. "I've got you. You're safe." "Ji-won." She collapsed against him, sobbing. Behind them, Hyun-suk appeared from the shadows, gun raised at Ji-won's back. "Look out!" Naomi screamed. Ji-won spun, shielding her with his body. His own gun came up. 2 shots rang out simultaneously. Hyun-suk fell, a red stain, spreading across his chest. Ji-won stood untouched. It was over. Jiwon's men secured the warehouse while he lifted Naomi into his arms, carrying her out into the night. She clung to him, shaking, unable to process that she was safe. In his car, he held her so tight she could barely breathe. "I'm sorry," he kept saying, his voice breaking. "This is my world, my enemies, my fault. I should have protected you better. You saved me. You came for me. I almost lost you." His hands shook as he cupped her face. "When they told me you were gone, Naomi, I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. You're everything to me. My life, my heart, my reason for existing. If something had happened to you, I'm here. I'm safe because of you." She kissed him, pouring everything into it. Relief, love, gratitude. "Take me home." At the penthouse, he ran her a bath, washed her gently, tended the bruises on her wrists from the zip ties. He wrapped her in the softest blankets and held her on the couch while she processed. "Everything. I was so scared," she admitted. "Hyunsuk said he wanted revenge through me. He can't hurt anyone anymore." Jiwon's voice was hard. "He's dead. His organization will scatter without leadership. No one will come for you again. I'll make sure of it. The violence doesn't scare you? I grew up in this world. Violence is all I've known. But I'm trying to be better for you. I've been stepping back from the dangerous parts of the business, going legitimate. I want to build a life with you that doesn't involve looking over our shoulders constantly. I want that too." She snuggled deeper into his embrace. "I want normal, boring even, just us. We'll have it, I promise. No more enemies, no more danger, just you and me and whatever future we build together." They held each other through the night, grateful, shaken, and more in love than ever. The morning sun found them still tangled together, neither willing to let go. "Naomi," Jiwon said softly. She looked up at him. "Marry me." Her breath caught. "What? I know it's fast. I know we've only been together 5 months, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life." He reached into his pocket, pulling out a ring box. Inside was a stunning diamond, simple but perfect. "You brought me back to life, Naomi, literally and figuratively. I was a dead man walking before you. I felt nothing, wanted nothing, cared about nothing except building my empire. Now I feel everything. I want everything with you. Be my wife. Let me spend the rest of my life showing you what you mean to me." Tears streamed down her face. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring on her finger, kissing her deeply. "I'm going to make you so happy. You already do." They made love right there on the couch, desperate and tender, celebrating life and love and the future stretching before them. When they finally pulled apart, Naomi laughed through her tears. "My grandmother is going to say we're crazy. We are crazy, crazy in love. I'll fly her here. We'll tell her together." And he did. 3 days later, Naomi's grandmother arrived to find her granddaughter engaged to Seoul's most powerful CEO. "This is fast," she said carefully. "I know, Grandma. But it's right. He's right. I love him." Jiwon took her grandmother's hands. "I know I'm not what you imagined for your granddaughter. I know my world is complicated, but I love her more than anything. I'll protect her, cherish her, give her everything she's ever wanted. I promise you that." Naomi's grandmother studied him for a long moment, then smiled. "She looks at you like you hung the moon, and you look at her the same way. That's all I need to know. Welcome to the family, Jiwon." The wedding planning happened quickly. Jiwon wanted her tied to him legally as soon as possible. "I need the world to know you're mine," he admitted. "Need your last name to be Park. Need a ring on your finger that tells every man alive you're taken." They married 2 months later in a private ceremony at a bay, beautiful Hanok in Bukchon, close friends and family only. Naomi wore white lace that hugged every curve, custom made to showcase her beautiful body. Jiwon cried when she walked down the aisle on her grandmother's arm. He'd never been an emotional man, but she'd changed everything about him. His vows were simple but devastating. You saved me when I didn't know I needed saving. You taught me to feel again, to want again, to live again. I was broken and you made me whole. I'll spend every day of forever showing you what that means. I love you, Naomi Chen, soon to be Naomi Park. My miracle, my everything. Her vows were equally powerful. You taught me to trust love, to believe in fairy tales, to know that home isn't a place, it's a person. You're my home, Jiwon. You're my safe harbor. You're my greatest adventure. I'm yours, always. Their kiss sealed something eternal, witnessed by everyone who loved them. At the reception, Jiwon never left her side. His hand was always touching her back, her waist, her hand, claiming her publicly, showing everyone she was his. They honeymooned in Bali, 2 weeks of pure paradise, white sand beaches, crystal blue water, and no one else existing in their world. Jiwon made love to his wife constantly, never able to get enough of her. In the ocean, on the beach at sunset, in their private villa, against every surface available, Naomi bloomed under his attention, her confidence growing, her body responding to his touch like an instrument made specifically for his hands. I can't believe you're mine, he murmured one night, both of them wrapped around each other, watching stars from their beach lounger. I can't believe you're real. I'm real. This is real. She kissed his jaw. We're real. Forever. Forever, she agreed. Back in Seoul, married life was blissful. Jiwon stepped back significantly from the dangerous parts of his business. He delegated more to trusted lieutenants, focusing on the legitimate corporation. Spending more time with his wife, they traveled. Paris, Santorini, New York, Tokyo, anywhere Naomi wanted to see, he took her. He was her biggest cheerleader when she started her own art gallery and consulting firm, using his connections to help her, but letting her succeed on her own merit. I'm so proud of you, he told her at her gallery opening, watching critics and buyers praise her work. You're brilliant, you're biased, absolutely, but also correct. 6 months after the wedding, Naomi started feeling off, nauseous in the mornings, exhausted during the day, emotional over small things. Her period was late, very late. She bought a test on her way home from work, hands shaking. In their penthouse bathroom, she waited the longest 3 minutes of her life, then looked down at the stick. 2 lines. Positive. She was pregnant. Her hand went to her flat stomach. A baby. They were having a baby. After everything they'd been through, they were creating life. She sat on the bathroom floor crying happy tears for 10 minutes before pulling herself together. How should she tell him? She wanted it to be special. That evening, Jiwon came home to find candles everywhere and Naomi in a beautiful dress, nervous and glowing. "What's this?" he asked, smiling. "A celebration. Of what?" She handed him a small wrapped box. He opened it, confused. Inside was the positive pregnancy test and a note. "I haven't felt my manhood in 3 years until I met you. Now we're creating life together. We're having a baby." Jiwon stared at the test, not comprehending at first. Then understanding crashed over him. "You're pregnant," his voice cracked. "We're having a baby." The test clattered from his hands. He dropped to his knees before her, pressing his face to her stomach. His shoulders shook. He was crying. "A baby? We're having a baby! Oh God, Naomi, are you happy?" Her own tears fell into his hair. He looked up at her, face wet, eyes shining. "Happy? I'm destroyed. I'm overwhelmed. I'm the luckiest man alive. For 3 ever years, I thought I'd never have this. Never feel desire again, never make love, never create life, never have a family. Then you happened. You gave me everything back." His hands cradled her stomach reverently. "What did you do to me, Naomi? How did you fix me? How did you perform this miracle? Maybe it wasn't about being fixed, she whispered, running her fingers through his hair. Maybe it was about finding the right person, someone your body and soul recognized as worth living for, worth healing for. I haven't felt my manhood in 3 years until I met you. He repeated what he'd told his doctor months ago. You woke everything in me, my body, my heart, my capacity to love. You performed a miracle just by existing, and now we're creating another miracle. Our baby, she agreed, crying. He stood, lifting her into his arms, spinning her carefully. I'm going to be a father. You're going to be a mother. We're going to have a family. We're going to have a family, she echoed, laughing through tears. The pregnancy was healthy, but intense. Ji-won was obsessively protective from day one. He hired the best obstetrician in Seoul, had her on specialized prenatal vitamins, arranged for private yoga classes, ensured she ate perfectly balanced meals. I'm not made of glass, Naomi protested when he tried to carry her up the stairs at 3 months along. You're carrying my child. You're the most precious thing in the world. The baby is the size of a plum. I can still walk. Humor me, his eyes pleaded. She let him carry her. How could she deny him anything when he looked at her like that? As her belly grew, Ji-won's awe grew with it. He talked to her stomach every night, singing Korean lullabies, telling their baby stories about how he'd met their mother, and she walked in with the most beautiful smile, and everything changed. Daddy's whole world changed because of Mommy. Naomi glowed during pregnancy, her already curvy body becoming even more lush. Ji-won worshipped her, pregnant form, constantly telling her how beautiful she was, how much he desired her, making love to her gently when her doctor said it was safe. You're stunning, he murmured, hands caressing her swollen belly at 6 months. Radiant. I can't stop looking at you. I'm huge. You're perfect. You're carrying our child. There's nothing more beautiful. He proved his words with actions, showing her constantly how much he wanted her. 8 months in, they prepared the nursery together. Ji-won wanted every detail perfect. They argued playfully about colors. Blue, he insisted. We don't know the gender yet. Yellow is neutral. Fine, yellow. Whatever my wife wants. He kissed her nose. But I'm getting a baseball glove just in case it's a boy, and I'm getting art supplies just in case it's a girl. Deal. Labor came on a rainy Seoul evening at 38 weeks. Naomi's water broke while they were eating dinner. Ji-won went into crisis mode, grabbing the hospital bag he'd kept packed for weeks, helping her to the car, driving like a madman through Seoul traffic while calling her doctor. Breathe, baby. Just breathe. We're almost there. At the hospital, he held her hand through contractions, whispered encouragement, let her squeeze his hand hard enough to bruise. 13 hours of labor, 13 hours of him never leaving her side, staying strong for her even though he was terrified. When the doctor finally said one more push, Ji-won cried. And then their baby was born, a perfect little girl with dark hair and her mother's eyes. The nurse placed her on Naomi's chest. Ji-won stared at his daughter, at his wife, and completely fell apart. She's perfect, he sobbed. You're perfect. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this. Thank you for giving me everything. Naomi watched her husband cradle their newborn daughter with shaking hands. This powerful man reduced to tears by love, and fell in love with him all over again. What should we name her? She asked softly. Sora. It means sky. And wisdom. She'll carry both our strengths. Sora Park. It's beautiful. They stared at their daughter for hours, unable to look away, unable to believe they'd created something so perfect. When the nurses finally made them rest, Ji-won held Naomi while she slept, Sora in a bassinet beside them. His whole world fit in this hospital room. I'll protect you both, he whispered to his sleeping wife and daughter. I'll give you everything. I'll love you forever. Both of you, my girls, my family, my miracles. Leaving the hospital 3 days later, Jiwon had increased security. His family was everything now. No threats would ever touch them. At home, they adjusted to parenthood together. Sleepless nights and countless diapers and the overwhelming love that came with their daughter. Jiwon was a devoted father, taking paternity leave, doing midnight feedings, changing diapers without complaint, singing lullabies in Korean while walking Sora around the penthouse. Naomi watched him father their daughter and marveled at how far they'd come. From that first day in his office to this, a family, a love story that defied medical impossibility. You're amazing with her, Naomi said one night, watching him change Sora's diaper with practiced ease. I'm terrified I'll break her. You won't. You're the most gentle person I know with the people you love. I never thought I'd have this, he admitted, picking up Sora, holding her close. I was resigned to a life alone, building an empire with no one to share it with. No legacy beyond money and power. And now look at us. He smiled down at their daughter. I have everything. Naomi came up behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist, leaning her head against his back. We have everything, she corrected. 3 years ago, I walked into your office looking for a job. I found my entire future instead. Best mistake I ever made. Letting you walk through that door. He turned, Sora cradled in one arm, his other arm pulling Naomi close. You saved me, gave me back my humanity, my desire, my hope, my life. I love you so much. I love you too. She stood on her toes, kissing him softly. Thank you for seeing me, for choosing me, for loving me exactly as I am, always. He promised. Forever, forever, she agreed. And as they stood there, the three of them wrapped in love and second chances and the miracle of life itself, Naomi knew with absolute certainty. This was exactly where she was always meant to be, in the arms of the man who'd been dead inside until she brought him back to life, creating a family built on impossible odds and unstoppable love. Their story wasn't conventional, but it was theirs, and it was absolutely perfect. If you loved this story, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment telling me which part got you in your feels. Was it when he proposed? When he cried holding his daughter? When he confessed his love for the first time? Let me know. Share this video with someone who loves a good romantic story with all the feels. And stay tuned, because we have more emotional roller coasters coming your way. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and keep believing that miracles can happen when you least expect them. Peace out.